Good evening, our dear viewers, and welcome back to another episode of NBC Journal.
Hello and welcome back again with me, Lana and Farah, and starting with the headlines, starting from Bahraini negotiation or deal plan with Israel.
Moving on to Omar Sharbati, a circuit performer and trainer.
In South Africa, the Jerusalema is the trending song on social media.
And moving on to trending topics, talking especially about Mula.
And CIA spending more than $20 million on a spy cat.
And then finally, we have a great guest, special guest, all the way from Lebanon. She's a Lebanese activist with us.
On our tonight's show, we bring to you all the latest and we highlight to you all the news from around the world. And talking about the treacherous stab for the Palestinians by the Bahraini politicians.
Yes, Bahraini followed the footsteps of the UAE in normalizing relations with the occupation.
Just a few moments ago, I hosted a historic call between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel and King Hamad Al Khalifa of Bahrain.
And Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, announced the deal on Twitter on Friday after he spoke by phone to Bahraini's King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa.
Donald Trump said that, and all this deal, there is another person who wrote on Twitter that even if the Israeli and the UAE or the Israeli and Bahraini people or politicians are writing or agree and have a deal plan with each other, the citizens of Bahraini people are the future and they have the lead for
exactly. The citizens of Bahraini and United Arab Emirates were very opposed to this whole situation and to this whole agreement between Bahrain and Israeli occupation, and they took to Twitter with a hashtag and let's say a social media campaign with the hashtag Bahrainis against normalization.
And there is another tweet on social media: as Bahraini citizens, we reject normalizations with the criminal Israel. We will remain support of Palestine and we demand its freedom. This is like really powerful.
Yes, and another tweet, as you can see here, they are all talking about standing with Palestine and not agreeing and not satisfied with this whole normalization. Here you will see that one citizen tweet, "I will always and forever stand with Palestine."
And for Abdulaziz Mubarak, it's a black day here in Bahrain.
Yes.
This is all the trending or tweets on Twitter. What else?
And another tweet from another person. The picture speaks for itself. We are Bahrainis will sacrifice ourselves for Palestine, Arabs and Muslims. And with a picture attached to the tweet that was taken in Palestine in 1948. That shows that Bahrainis, since the beginning, they were with Palestine and they are going to stay with Palestine.
Yes. And for Hussam Zumlot, the hashtag Bahrainis against normalization, he said, let Trump and Netanyahu have their short electioneering and illusionary moment. The future is in the hands of the dignified Arab people of Bahrain and the region. These are the tweets for Bahrainis.
And Hussam Zumlot, he is the head of Palestinian mission to the UK. He was very pleased with this social media, let's say, campaign that happened and commented on it. Even though with all those, let's say, normalization with the Israeli occupation, the Palestinians never lose hope. They always have hope that Palestine will be free one day.
An example of these people is Omar Sharbati from Jerusalem.
Yes.
And he expresses himself by the flow art that he has in front of the mosque gate.
Yes, he majored this new art, flow art. Omar started his journey in flow art and in art in general when he was 17 and he wanted to learn dabka. So he entered an organization called Siwar in Jerusalem. All the videos we can see together that he's performing in front of the
Dome of the Rock,
yes, exactly,
and the gates of Jerusalem.
Despite all the restrictions that the occupation is facing, putting. But he insists on developing his tools and his shows to send a message to the whole world by his art.
As we're talking about Jerusalem and the dances and art in Jerusalem, there is another song called Jerusalema that reached all the world, and it was trending during the previous period. Even it was established or
yes, it was released in 2019.
Yes, in 2019, but it got its fame in 2020.
Yes, with the dance challenge that it created, and the whole world is doing the dances and following on to the steps.
Can you imagine like 125 million people watching this videos, and they're doing a challenge of dance?
Yes, with the hashtag Jerusalema challenge. When the producer of the song actually released the song, he didn't anticipate this huge interaction from the whole world, let alone having a YouTube trending and on the charts, let's say.
Since we're talking about the trending Jerusalem song, we'll continue the trending videos with you, Farah. What do you have for today?
Thank you, Lana. Our first topic on trending for this episode, Mulan generated billions in box office sales by rebooting its animated classics for the big screen. And this one had a clear advantage, a massive audience in China. But the movie has become a political flashpoint in the run-ups to its release in mainland China this weekend, by far the biggest theatrical market for the movie. Online uproar escalated this week when it was revealed that Disney filmed part of Mulan in Xinjiang, a region where China is believed to have detained at least 1 million Muslims, mostly ethnic Uyghurs, in internment camps. To the critics, the roll-ups of Mulan marks the latest example of Hollywood hypocrisy and willingness to sacrifice everything in order to do business with China. Novak Djokovic must have known his US Open was over as soon as the tennis ball hit the line judge in the throat. Djokovic spent 7 minutes trying to persuade US Open referee of the case for the defense. Djokovic said in another apology on Instagram, "Novak, don't worry, you'll join him soon," on an image of Clark's late son who died at the age of 25 in 2008 following a bicycle accident. This shows you how aggressive and irrational social media fans can get. On a lighter topic on trending, Chilean star Alexis Sanchez, the current star of Inter Milan and the former Manchester United, Arsenal and Barcelona player, in the middle of the sea listening to Palestinian artist Mohamed Assaf's song لوين بروح, went viral between Arab and Spanish football fans.
لوين بروح وانت منك معي خوفي بقلبي وعيوب
As we promised, every episode we bring you something new and abnormal. Tonight, Lana have some topics that will impress us.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Farah. Less than 2 months before the US election, President Donald Trump seems to have something to celebrate, a nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize. A far-right Norwegian politician has put Mr. Trump's name forward for the year 2021 prize. The CIA has spent more than $20 million for this spy project in 1960s. It was to be a spy cat with accomplished listening bug. A cat was supposed to become a unique mobile listening device, but the inventors haven't taken into account the most inherent feature of the felines, their individuality. The project was a failure due to their disobedient nature, as cats go their own way. The first bugged cat spy sent for a mission didn't follow the official orders. $20 million were basically killed by a taxi. The Big Ben of London, also known as the Great Clock, which has been recording time since 1859, was held siege by a flock of birds in 1949 that perched on its minute hand. Also, it slowed the clock by about 5 minutes, that which endured London Blitz was actually defeated by the forces of nature. Later on, in winter 1962, snowing slowed down the clock by 10 minutes.
talking about trending topics and weird topics that happened in this week, let's say. The most talked about topic the last month was the explosion that happened at Beirut port in Lebanon.
And the sentence, "Please don't abandon us," is by Lebanese people all over the world. And also on social media, they're not talking about Lebanese explosion anymore. So for this, or for tonight, we're having a guest from Lebanon. Her name is Fatima, and we're very happy and glad to have her from Lebanon with us on NBC Journal.
Fatima,
so hello, Fatima.
But let's introduce her in a brief sentence. She is a student from Lebanese University. She's a photographer and also an activist. And we are so pleasured and honored to have her here today with us to talk and discuss about the political situation and economic situation.
In Lebanon.
Yes, in Lebanon.
So hello, Fatima.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fine, and you?
I hope you and your family and your friends are okay in Lebanon. We know that it's very hard times, but hopefully you're doing okay, because we know that Lebanese people are always strong. So how are you doing nowadays? How are family doing in Lebanon?
The situation in Lebanon is not easy for me or my family, but all over the country. People are living under a very catastrophic situation right now. Maybe all Lebanon history did not witness such a situation. It's very hard and expensive to resist, but unfortunately, we have no other choices.
Okay, Fatima, can you tell us more about the feelings of the Lebanese people around you and your feelings? Tell us on a deep level, how did you feel after this big explosion that happened?
The explosion that happened in Beirut on the 4th of August, with its devastating result, left all the people in a huge shock whether they are Lebanese, left all the people in a huge shock whether they are Lebanese, Palestinians or Syrians, and all the marginalized refugees in the country. We are dealing with this collective trauma at different levels. Of course, we have the people. We are dealing with this collective trauma in different levels. Of course, we have the people who were mostly affected, who live in the port area, which caused a material loss that reached almost $8.1 billion, and almost 300,000 people are homeless now, with a huge failure of the Lebanese government in managing this crisis and many other previous crises. But the explosion was a short version of all the economic and social collapses that we are living today and which will continue all over the coming years. But the port explosion moment was a short copy of this failure, and the change that we can see clearly is in the economic situation. And even people who are living in other cities than Beirut can feel this change. For example, the purchasing power, the financial situation, their ability to have their basic needs daily. For example, medicine, education, food and drinks.
I would love to ask you about the education. Are you continuing with the process of education in your universities, colleges and schools? Or what's going on nowadays?
اوكي هلا هيدي المشكله فينا نحكي فيها على عده مستويات.
Education problem has many levels now. First level is the higher education in universities, which shows many students left their private universities to the National Lebanese University in a huge number, which is a big number to such an institution that is not qualified enough to serve the needed and the educational levels for such numbers, not even its current student, which will cause deterioration in the educational level.
التعليمي للطلاب والحاليين أصلاً.
And during the health crisis that the world is witnessing due to COVID-19, it's hard to continue the education normally, which caused collapse in the subject, and we can expect the effects of such a thing.
هذا الشيء عم بيؤدي لتقليص المنهاج المعطى للتلاميذ وبتخيل إنه ممكن.
And we are talking about huge number of students who don't have laptops and tools for learning.
يلي ما عندهم access على لابتوبس على إنترنت.
The circumstances are really hard for them. But I have a question for you. As a student in Lebanese university, you have a huge scale of friends, let's say, who are the same age as you. Do you have lots of responsibilities nowadays in Lebanon, especially in these bad circumstances? You said the educational, political, and environmental circumstances under Lebanon. Do you feel a duty, or what do you think you can do as individuals, young Lebanese, to improve the situation in Lebanon? Let's put like the political situation aside and focus on you as youngsters.
هلأ بالبداية أنا شخصياً لا أؤمن بإمكانية إحداث أي تغيير حقيقي.
Me personally can't believe that any real change can happen in economic situation or the current system in Lebanon. I believe that all the young people in Lebanon in their 20s, 30s, 40s, males and females, Lebanese and the other nationalities, because we can't talk about the impact of this crisis on Lebanese. It makes me sensitive.
بالعكس تماماً عنا فئة المهاجرين اللي هن الأكثر تهميشاً والأكثر.
You are one nation, united nation, yes, and the responsibility on all of you together.
هي الفكرة تحديداً إنه اليوم على المستوى الفردي نحن عاجزين عن إحداث أي تغيير، إنما في واجب.
But we took a decision as young people to stay in this country and not leave it, because immigration is the only topic that people are using, because Lebanon is a factory of immigrants in general.
Yes.
ولبنان أصلاً هو مصنع مهاجرين ومهاجرات عموماً منذ النشأة حتى اليوم، يعني هذا الشيء معروف.
So our role today is to stay in the country and have enough political awareness that can touch the poor and most affected people by this situation now.
أكثر ضرراً من كل تداعيات الأزمة الاقتصادية.
Yes, Fatima, I would love to ask you something. Like at the beginning of this year, 2020, you started revolutions. Lebanese people were like top news around the world on all channels.
Yes.
Like you started to have a lot of revolutions, and you were motivated, and you were have the initiative and the lead to do a lot and to change a lot. But after this explosion, things are going in another way. Do you think so? Like you're starting, like after the explosion, even the land, if I want to see it, like the land explode after because of the pressure. The harsh pressure on the Lebanese people and everything. So now everything is like ash. Sorry for saying that, but like nothing alive, but you, young people. So why the news are not talking anymore about Lebanese? Why the young people are not talking anymore on social media?
أوكي هلا هذا الشيء بيرجع لعوامل عديدة، أهمها إنه نحن اليوم.
This is due to many factors, and the most important is to understand, as a person who works in media, that the media lives by scoops and trending topics, but the revelation is not trending.
نغطي انفجار ببيروت، نغطي انتفاضة بلبنان، هذا شوي بيكون كاتشي، شوي بيكون ترندي، بس بعدين بدنا خبر
ثاني. The explosion was trending, and any demonstrations are also, but will disappear after a while because it's built on a huge topics, so that can affect how people see the situation.
بيأثر على كيف العالم عم بتشوف الوضع بلبنان. أنا بالنسبة لي من النهار اللي نزلت فيه ب 17/20/2019 للحظة.
And for me, since the 17th of October 2019, I didn't leave the streets, and many other young people like me. And any revolution doesn't continue only by the existence of people in the streets, but also by the political awareness and the development.
Sorry for cutting you, but as you said, the revolution will never stop because you still have breath and you will change the circumstances.
You have the spirit and you have the light in your souls.
Exactly.
And best wishes and best of luck with your life.
We are so honored to have you with us today. We hope everything will be better in Lebanon.
Yes.
And we all news.
Yes, in the Middle East we all share the same
troubles and
troubles
same
and
circumstances.
difficulties,
Yes,
yes.
we are all united. We hope the best for you and best wishes. And again, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you
us.
so much for having me.
This was the interview with Fatima. It was very emotional and a lot of news from Lebanon.
But it's, at the same time, it's really powerful, and it's
Yes.
very empowering to see after all these circumstances, they are still strong and fighting for life.
We all know that Palestinians, Lebanese people, and most Arab people are like
Sharing
who are
the same,
yeah,
yeah.
sharing the same, and they are all strong.
Yes.
And we believe in Lebanese people, and we're proud of them.
Yes.
So thank you so much for watching us, and
Yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Stay
Yes.
safe and stay well, and
See you next
exactly
week, yes.
see you next week.